at the movies with Tim Sika for this Friday. Hello and welcome.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, thank you for your patience as we started a little late today.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I figured you guys were running over late, and there's always a good reason when you run over late. So
Yeah,
yeah,
okay. Well,
yeah.
thank you for your patience. You have some great movies for us today. I'm not quite sure about the first one, I have to tell you. This one might not be up my alley, but what did you think of Megan 2.0?
Yeah. Okay. Well, what did I think of it? Not too much. Okay. It's of course a sequel to 2022's Megan movie. Did you see that one?
Oh, yeah, went right out and saw that.
Yeah. Which I thought.
No.
No, oh really? You didn't? Okay. Well, I thought that was like I think I remember liking that movie a lot. But the sequel here is pretty meh. The plot. Oh my God. I'm trying to see if okay, the plot is that okay. For those who haven't seen the first one, the original Megan was this child-sized humanoid robot doll. It was powered by AI, and she or it or whatever her pronouns were, what was designed to be like the ultimate companion for children, really even sort of taking the place of the parents. Well, make a long story short, it got entirely out of control, and eventually Megan had to be destroyed. So in this sequel, Megan is rebuilt and she's resurrected in order to fight this new hostile AI replica called Amelia, which was she was created from Megan's original design. She becomes self-aware, of course, because again the AI gets out of control, and then she's then hell-bent on enacting a worldwide AI takeover. So that's the plot. And even saying that is like that's just too much. The original Megan was great fun. I thought it had something to say, and it was this combination of cheesiness and camp, which is what made it work. Not only a satire and social commentary, but as entertainment. It was really fun. It was low budget and semi-cheap looking, but all of that added to its sort of charm and out fun. And it also gave you something to think about. The new one eschews all of that completely, like preferring instead to go like the serious route. It gets lost in its own plot weeds and plays more like some sort of like substandard action picture. The original director of Megan is back on board with this one. His name is Gerard Johnstone, but the original writers are gone this time around, and the screenplay credit this time was given to the director, Johnstone. So I'm sure that obviously has something to do with the tone of this one being so opposite from the original. So what made in summation, what made the first one work is totally absent from the follow-up, which is not only less entertaining but way too long at 2 hours. This movie's way too long. So I say skip it. Bleh.
Okay. Um,
Yeah,
skip it.
you
Got
sound
it.
speechless. Yeah, I was gonna say you
Oh,
sound
I was
speechless. So
still
there was a
typing. You're
oh
talking
I
faster than I can type. Skip it, you say. Yeah.
okay yeah
Yeah.
I thought maybe you were that was like a pregnant pause or something. Anyway, no, I'm
No.
teasing.
Well, that's a bummer for Megan 2.0.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, really, I'm a fan of the first one. I just was disappointed. It just was so overstuffed, and there
yeah.
were so many like it just like I said, it just got lost in its weeds, its plot weeds, and it's just like it took an hour to get started, and then the climax, which came like in the last 15 minutes, wasn't worth the wait. Or maybe it would have been worth the wait if they had cut 30 minutes out of it. Anyway, I didn't think it was very good.
The next one you have is kind of a heavy topic. This Sorry Baby is called.
Yes. I love that poster. There's that
Mhm.
it's taken from a scene in the movie where she finds an abandoned kitty. This was an eye opener of sorts. Sorry, baby, for me in a good way. Which it opens. I'm probably a little early on this movie. It opens in select theaters today, but there's going to be a wider release planned for July 18th. So here's one for everybody, right? It's a black comedy about a woman negotiating her way through the aftermath and the trauma of sexual abuse.
Mm.
So now, what the writer, director, and star of the film, Ava Victor, has done here, she's in the poster. The tone she struck, which is a very tricky one to pull off successfully, a comic one, which you think is completely antithetical to the subject matter, really kind of upends the way stories like this are usually told. I usually dread watching movies about sexual abuse
Yeah.
only because of the subject matter, duh.
Right.
They're an ordeal to get through, but I don't think there's ever been a movie about that topic quite like this one. In fact, I know there's never been. I mean, this is a story about a woman. She's living with the trauma of sexual abuse, which, of course, these cases always wind up being, at least in terms of the law, they always end up being unresolved. So so Sorry Baby is a story about this young academic. She's a college professor. She's betrayed by her doctoral advisor. And it's about her finding her way back to herself with this gallows humor
Mm.
and the love and support of a friend. So the focus of the film isn't really about the physical violation or the violence of sexual assault, but more about healing and the feelings this woman experiences as part of her specific healing experience. And what is interesting about this movie is that the humor never, ever undermined the horribleness of what happened to this woman. If anything, it provides the viewer with a kind of a doorway into seeing this trauma, experiencing this trauma in a way which I don't think we've ever seen in a movie before with this subject. It's a really, really special movie. It's very poignant. It's very funny. It's touching. It's illuminating. Everything about it just works, from its tone to the way it was shot to the performances, which are all across the board great. It's right up there with being one of the best films of the year so far, and one deserving of the largest possible audience. It was a notable film at Sundance this year. It was just picked up by A24, and I hope they give it some good publicity, because it's a way of looking at a film with this kind of horrible subject matter
Mhm.
in a way that doesn't destroy you, but yet gives you this inkling, this sense of what it must be like. It's kind of brilliant, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
What I find about gallows humor is some people get it and some people really don't.
Yeah. Well, I noticed, I saw it at a private critic screening last
Mhm.
week, and I noticed like some of the humor went over really well with these critics. Some of it did not. I found the lion's share of it pretty funny, and I don't know if that's because the joke didn't land or if people were uncomfortable, but
Yeah.
there were a lot of guffaws, and it's just, I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, the
Some people
way,
have that. If
yeah,
working in an emergency room and in a newsroom,
yeah,
this type of humor is the way you you
you
would
get through
hear
it.
some of the jokes that were made and you would be horrified. But for
Yeah,
people that work there, that's the coping mechanism, right? That's the way
yeah,
to cope, to get through it, to make your way through it with, you're gonna have emotional scars from things that you're,
right,
privy to,
yeah.
but it's a way to kind of come through it somewhat emotionally okay, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Well,
But
yeah, this movie is a good example of
yeah,
that, I
yeah.
think. Yeah. And I'm not sure, I haven't done a lot of research on the movie. I don't know if it's, my sense is that this is from her own experience, the
Mhm.
filmmaker.
Oh, wow.
So that probably, yeah, that's probably what lends it you know, the 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 weight that it has. But it's also very light at the same time. It's very different, very, very different.
Yeah. Okay, let's move to the next movie. I was looking at the comments to see, what people are saying, and there's some that I wanna share with you afterward, but you
Okay,
watched
good.
this documentary called Surviving Ohio State.
Yeah, staying on that theme, sexual abuse. Oh
Oh,
my God,
God.
is a movie, a documentary, a strong and shocking one that approaches the subject matter in a more journalistic way. And this movie, Surviving Ohio State, it chronicles the Ohio State sexual abuse scandal that occurred between, it was like 1978 and 1998,
Mm,
while one Dr. Richard Strauss was employed as a physician by OSU in the athletics department and in the OSU's Student Health Center.
mm,
And it is a remarkably thorough account of what all these male athletes, many of whom speak on camera, I think for the first time, of what they went through at the hands of this guy, this Dr. Richard Strauss, while they were students at OSU. Uh, anyway, this is that story, which is still an ongoing one, some 45 years after it began. And it's mostly a story of betrayal of these young athletes by their coaches, by their mentors, and the OSU institution, which actively covered all of this up for decades. And the detail, oh my God, of the abuse is just, it's unbelievable. It's shocking. It may be too much for some people, but if you know about this scandal, and I thought I knew a lot about this scandal, I think you'll find out things here, as I did, about it that you never knew before. And if you don't know about the scandal, I think you owe it to yourself to see this movie to learn about it, because it's an important film. It was produced by George Clooney and his production company. They obviously thought it was an important story to tell. So it's another must-see of the week. And you can see it on right now on HBO Max.
I'm assuming they don't use the humor to get through this one.
No, there's nothing funny about this one. In fact,
No.
you're just like every 90 seconds appalled beyond belief.
Ugh.
I mean, not only about what happened, but the fact that Jim Jordan, congressman from Ohio, who went there, who knew about this. I mean, that guy does not come across very well in this piece at all. He's very just craven to the end, this guy. Anyway, that's another story. But
it looks like this is streaming on HBO Max.
Yes, streaming on HBO Max. Yep.
Here's a movie that you have for us called, and I love the title, Everything's Gonna Be Great.
Yeah. Everything's gonna be great. I wish this movie were.
Oh no!
well, it's got a number of good things going for it. For one, the cast. It's got Bryan Cranston, Allison Janney, Chris Cooper, and those two won Oscars, but more on that in a bit. It just premiered a couple of weeks ago at Tribeca, and now it's being released in theaters this week. And it's a family saga. It's a comedy drama about this family, the Smart family, headed by this regional theater producer, played by Bryan Cranston, and his long-suffering wife, played by Allison Janney, and their two sons. One is an aspiring football player, and the other is a sort of a budding thespian, the young one. And they're a family who can't seem to get it together. I was going to say like most families. They constantly uproot from state to state. They keep chasing these theater gigs geared toward community theater productions until this tragedy in the family happens, which forces them all to move in with Allison Janney's estranged brother, played by Chris Cooper, who lives in Kansas. And there's a lot kicking around in this movie. It explores some interesting themes of like faith and artistic ambition and identity and belonging and sacrifice. When the film started, I thought it was going to be a fun one for theater geeks because it references shows like Fiddler on the Roof and A Chorus Line and some Gilbert and Sullivan, and in addition to these theater luminaries like Noel Coward and Tallulah Bankhead and even playwright William Inge. But after the first half, the script turns really janky, and it tries to almost be another film entirely with these messages. I don't know how else to say. And at that point, it just felt like it fell apart. And instead of all coming together, it kind of leaves you hanging. So unless you're already in the bag for these actors or are a budding theater geek, I'm curious what Julia would think of this. Because I think she would relate to the beginning. Mm-hmm. She might even relate to the young son who's a budding thespian, or just theater geeks in general. I consider myself kind of one, and I'm really liking it. And then it shifts gears, and it becomes this other movie that I'm going, what is this now? What happened here? And it goes on all these different tangents about family loyalty and stuff. And it's like, well, what is this now? I just threw up my hands when it was all over.
No.
I don't know, I don't know if that's a recommendation or not.
Are we saying recommend it or skip it?
I'm going to say skip it.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Skip to my Lou. We'll skip right over to Tim Sika's classic movie rec of the week. And this is something I haven't seen before.
Oh my gosh. Okay. You need to see this. Simple, pure, direct, no frills cinema is what this movie is all about. Lilies of the Field. It's a 1963 black and white comedy drama, and it stars Sidney Poitier as this sort of like vagabond itinerant handyman. His name is Homer Smith, who encounters this group of East German nuns in the Arizona desert. He's kind of passing through. He needs water for his car. He just happens upon these nuns who believe that he has been sent to them by God to build them a chapel. It's one of those movies I believe I have never heard anybody who's ever seen it say anything negative about it. It's really beloved, this movie, and it is a classic. Praised by critics. When it came out, it earned 5 Academy Award nominations. It got a Best Picture nomination, a Best Supporting Actress nomination for Lillies Scala, who played the Mother Superior. Her and Sidney Poitier's scenes together are some of the best in the movie. Poitier won the Academy Award. Yeah, that's a great scene that you just pulled up. He won an Academy Award for Best Actor, becoming the first African-American actor to win in a leading role. The film also featured an early score by Jerry Goldsmith, which is lovely. And in 2020, it was selected for preservation in the U.S. National Film Registry by the Library of Congress.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So for me, this is one of my comfort movies. I can watch it at any time. I can just put it on anytime, anywhere. It always hits the sweet spot for me. It's filled with life truths about service and attachment and faith and love. It's just an awesome movie. And rather than pummel everybody out there with facts about it, I just say, see it if you've never seen it, and just be prepared to be completely delighted. It's just a wonderful movie.
This movie is from 1963.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And oh geez, I didn't look up to see where it was playing. Wait a minute, I can tell you in a second here. I'm trying to be
All right. While you do that, I'll say Nullifidian says Sidney Poitier is one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
Yeah,
Why is it?
really cool. Teacher Lori says first Poitier movie I ever saw. This is a must see. She would agree with you. And Judy says that Tubi has a lot of Sidney Poitier films right now.
Yeah, well, this one, according to IMDb, is streaming on Pluto and Amazon Prime, and it's included with your Prime membership if you have it, so you don't have to pay for it. I mean, you're paying for it, but you don't have to. Yeah, it's just it's so good. It's just so good.
Very good. Bonnie says, I've seen all Sidney's movies. Such a classy man. His autobiography book was great, she writes.
Yeah, it was an excellent book. Yeah.
I think we're going to have a lot of takers on this one this week because it's free on Pluto and Tubi and Prime. And so everyone's like, okay, I'll go with you, Tim. I got you. You.
Good. You'll thank me for it. Yeah.
Before we do the recap, let's go back to some comments that some people were writing. The one from Phineas includes, I want to watch the semi-autobiography of Mariska Hargitay on her mom. Have you seen that one yet?
No, I'm not familiar with it, which doesn't mean anything, but yeah, okay. I'm making a note of it.
Regarding the Ohio State movie documentary, Be Aware writes, Jordan wears the shame of this on his face. Nothing makes him stutter more than being asked about his involvement in that cover-up.
Yeah. Very defensive, very avoiding. But he did not participate in this documentary. They reached out to him, but he didn't respond. But there's a lot of news coverage of him talking about it, and he doesn't. Yeah, obviously. And everybody was, all the people that knew him and that knew they said that whenever they brought it up, he knew exactly what they were talking about. He's just lying. But that's what No, I'm not going to say.
No.
Anyway, no.
Nullifidian says, I've got a video on my watch list that compares Megan with Chucky.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's interesting because Megan reminded me of Chucky. And the first Chucky movie I thought was terrific. And then they got progressively worse, I thought. And then this follow-up to Megan, this Megan 2.0, reminded me of like the 5th iteration of the Chucky movies, which was like just awful. So anyway, but that's a good comparison. I agree with it.
All right, a recap. Speaking of Megan, meh, you said, meh. New writer, the tone is off. What made the first one work, you said, is totally absent here. Plus, it's too long. And you said, skip Megan 2.0. No, thank you. As for the next movie, Sorry Baby, you really liked it. This is a movie using gallows humor in a new way to tackle some tough subjects like sexual abuse. You said it works from the tone to the way that it is shot to the performances. You say this may well be one of the best movies of this year. Sorry Baby, it's called. Surviving Ohio State. This is a documentary on HBO Max, and you said it is a must see. The story of betrayal. If you don't know much about the case, or even if you do, you say this is really one to watch. Surviving Ohio State. As for this movie, everything is going to be great. Not so much. No, no,
Not so great.
no, not so great. You said this movie really leaves you hanging. You said it shifts midstream. Boy, I had a typo on that. I said it shifts midstream. It shifts midstream. And you said everything's going to be great is really one to skip. Don't bother. As for your classic movie recommendation of the week, Lilies of the Field, you said this is simple, pure, direct, no frills cinema. One of your comfort movies. You called it awesome. We know it's streaming free on a variety of services. And you say Lilies of the Field is going to, from 1963, is going to be a great classic movie watch for this weekend.
Yeah,
There you
absolutely. Yeah,
go.
you got it. Yep, yep.
And I saw on the way out, I want to say I saw you do a lot of interviews this week with superstars.
Uh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. Yes, yeah. Well, yeah, yes. So yes, I don't know what
I
to
love
say
how you
about
just
that.
like, oh yes, I was with superstars. No, no, whatever. This is just my life, Kim. It's all right.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't mean for it to sound that way. No, yeah, yeah, lots of yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm fortunate that I'm in a position to be able to do that, and it's yeah,
absolutely.
it's really great. Yeah.
Remind us again where people can find those interviews online.
If okay, so on SoundCloud, on the SoundCloud app or the SoundCloud website or whatever, if you go on that website and you just type in Tim Sika, just my name, Celluloid Dreams, the movie show will come up, and all my interviews and stuff are on that channel. So
Awesome.
people can check them out if they're interested.
At the movies with Tim Sika. Thank you so much, Tim.
Thanks, Kim. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.